Hey America, grab a drink, settle in, and let's unpack one of the craziest stories of 2025, Donald Trump's obsession with the Panama Canal. This 50-mile waterway we built over a century ago is back in the spotlight, and it's packed with drama, power moves, and some serious consequences for your wallet. Is Trump about to snatch it back from Panama? Is China trying to steal our thunder? And what's this about a new canal in Nicaragua, or a railway that could make Panama's canal irrelevant? We're diving deep for you, the American people, with a story that's real, raw, and a little wild. By the end, you'll know why this matters, what Trump's really after, and whether his big talk could crash and burn. Drop a comment below. Do you think Trump's got a master plan, or is he just stirring up trouble? Let's roll. Imagine this. It's 1914, and the U.S. has just pulled off one of the greatest engineering feats in history, the Panama Canal. We poured $300 million into it, that's billions today, carved a 50-mile path through jungles and mountains, and lost thousands of workers along the way. Why? Because this canal was our ticket to dominating the seas. It connected the Atlantic and Pacific, cutting weeks off shipping routes. No more sailing around South America to get goods from New York to California. It was America's crown jewel, a symbol of our power, and we ran it like our own playground. We had military bases, a chunk of Panama called the Canal Zone, and total control. The canal was a lifeline for trade, making us a global superpower. But here's where it stings, folks. In 1977, President Jimmy Carter signed the Torrijos-Carter treaties, promising to hand the canal over to Panama by 1999. To a lot of Americans, it felt like giving away our birthright. We built it, paid for it, defended it. Why were we just handing it over? By 1999, the U.S. packed up, shut down bases like Fort Clayton and Howard Air Force Base, and let Panama take the keys. Sure, we still use the canal. 40% of our container ships, carrying everything from iPhones to groceries, pass through it. But we're not in charge anymore. That's got a lot of folks, especially Trump, fuming. It's like we built the ultimate highway, and now we're stuck paying tolls to drive on it. So what happened after we left? Panama stepped up, running the canal through their Panama Canal Authority, or ACP. They even shelled out $6 billion in 2016 to widen it for bigger ships. Sounds great, right? But droughts hit hard, messing with the canal's water levels. To fix it, Panama's planning a $2 billion reservoir, and guess who's paying? Shippers, including American companies, through sky-high tolls. Those fees are hitting your pocket, making everything from TVs to sneakers pricier. And it's not just the money. Panama's getting way too cozy with China, the canal's second biggest user, moving 21% of its cargo. By 2024, Chinese companies like CK Hutchison were running major ports near the canal. And to Trump, that's like letting a rival camp out in our backyard. Back in 2024, America's influence in Panama was a shadow of what it used to be. Our military was gone. No more GIS patrolling the canal. We were just another customer, paying tolls like everyone else. Panama was doing fine, but those rising tolls were ticking off U.S. shippers, and China was getting comfortable. CK Hutchison had been operating the ports of Balboa and Cristobal since the 90s, and Washington was starting to sweat. Could China use those ports for military purposes if things got messy? It's a long shot, but that's the kind of worry that keeps Pentagon folks up at night. Meanwhile, Panama's president, José Raúl Mulino, was juggling America, China, and his own people, who see the canal as their national pride. It was a tightrope walk, and Trump was about to shake it up. Fast forward to 2025, and Trump's back in the White House ready to throw down. This guy's coming in hot, and it's pure Trump. Big talk, bold moves, and some sneaky plays behind the scenes. In March, he drops a bombshell during a speech to Congress saying, "We're taking back the Panama Canal." He claims China's running the show, which is flat out wrong. Panama's ACP calls all the shots. He also gripes about high tolls, saying Panama's ripping off American ships. Down in Panama, people lose their minds. Mulino fires back, calling Trump a liar and running to the UN to complain. Protests erupt, with Panamanians waving flags and shouting, "The canal is ours!" It's a diplomatic firestorm, and Trump's just warming up. But here's the sneaky part. Right before his speech, a US-led group headed by BlackRock swoops in and buys 90% of Panama's key ports, Balboa and Cristobal, for $19 billion, kicking out C.K. Hutchison. You think that's random? No way. This was Trump's team sending a clear message to China. Get out. And it's not just about money. Trump's got the Pentagon cooking up plans to flex some serious muscle. We're talking more troops, maybe new ports, and even wild ideas like seizing the canal by force. That's probably not happening, but it shows how far Trump's willing to go. His defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, is pushing to revive old U.S. bases, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio's leaning on Mulino, saying the status quo with China won't cut it. It's a full-on power play, and America's watching to see if Trump can deliver. If you've followed Trump, you know his style. He's like a poker player betting big to scare everyone else out. With the Panama Canal, he's playing the same game. He throws out crazy demands, like "we're taking the canal back," to freak out Panama and get what he really wants, like cheaper tolls or a bigger military presence. It's straight out of his Art of the Deal playbook. Start wild, settle smart. He's also hammering the China angle, claiming they're controlling the canal, even though there's no proof. Why? Because it gets you, the American people, fired up thinking, "No way we're letting China take our canal." It's a slick way to justify his moves and keep his base cheering. Trump's not just yelling, though. He's hitting Panama from all sides. Diplomats like Rubio, big money deals like BlackRock, and military plans to keep the pressure on. At home, he's painting the 1977 Carter deal as a massive screw-up, saying we gave away our canal. It's red meat for Americans who feel we got a raw deal, and it makes Trump look like the guy fixing it. But here's the catch. This high-stakes game could backfire. Panama's not backing down, and Trump's loud mouth might push them into China's arms or spark a bigger fight. Let's look at what he's already locked in. Trump's not just talking tough. He's putting troops in Panama to back it up. In April 2025, the U.S. and Panama signed a deal called the Memoranda of Understanding, or MOU, and it's a big deal. This agreement lets our forces operate out of 3 spots in Panama. The Panama Pacifico International Airport, which used to be our Howard Air Base on the Pacific side. The Vasco Núñez de Balboa Naval Base, formerly our Rodman Naval Station, also on the Pacific. And the Cristobal Colon Air Naval Base on the Atlantic side. We've got over 200 troops there. Some say it could be over 1,000, including elite, special forces, and a Marine infantry company. They're rotating in and out, so numbers shift, but it's a serious show of force. What's the gear like? We're talking heavy hitters. 2 Navy cruisers, a Coast Guard cutter, 4 F-18 fighter jets screaming overhead, and the USNS Comfort, a massive hospital ship ready to roll. There's probably some trucks and logistics gear too, but we don't have all the details. Officially, these guys are there for training, humanitarian missions, and keeping the canal safe. They're prepping for a big joint exercise called PANAMA in 2026. But let's be real, it's also about showing China and Panama who's boss. The problem? Panama's in charge of these bases and dead set against letting us set up permanently. Their opposition's calling it a camouflaged invasion, and Mulino's got to keep his people calm. For Americans, it feels like we're back in the game, but Panama's pushback could make things messy. China's watching all this, and they're not happy about getting pushed out. After losing those ports to BlackRock, they've got options, and they're ready to play hardball. They're already playing the nice guy, saying, "We respect Panama's control," while slamming the U.S. for bullying. It's a smart move to win over Latin America, making Trump look like the villain. They could also pour cash into other ports, like in Peru or Mexico, to keep their trade routes strong. But here's the big one. Nicaragua's pitching a new canal, and China's got the money to make it happen. If they jump in, it's a direct shot at Trump's plans. As the canal's second biggest user, China's got leverage. They could hint at redirecting ships elsewhere if Panama leans too hard into the U.S., hitting Panama's economy where it hurts. And don't forget their Belt and Road Initiative. They're bankrolling projects across Latin America, offering loans and infrastructure to countries that snub the U.S. If Trump keeps poking the bear, China might double down, making life tougher for him in Panama. It's a chess game, and China's playing for the long haul. Now here's where things get nuts. What if the Panama Canal isn't the only game in town anymore? There are projects out there that could make it irrelevant, and that's bad news for Americans who rely on it. First up, Nicaragua's back with a plan for a 445 kilometers canal linking Bluefields on the Caribbean to Puerto Corinto on the Pacific. Announced in November 2024, it's a $50 billion mega project meant to steal Panama's thunder. Their president, Daniel Ortega, is pitching it to both China and the U.S., playing both sides. Nicaragua tried this before with a Chinese company in 2013, but it tanked in 2024 over money and environmental issues. This new plan's smarter, but it's still a long shot with big risks. If this canal gets built, it could siphon off Panama's traffic, especially if China's behind it. For Trump, that's a disaster. A Chinese-backed canal in Nicaragua would be like a knife in America's backyard, giving Beijing a new way to control trade routes. It's exactly what Trump's trying to stop in Panama, and it's why he's so hell-bent on locking down the canal we've got. But Nicaragua's canal is a big if, facing huge hurdles: cash, politics, and nature. Then there's another threat: a railway across South America. They're calling it the Trans-Pacific Railway or Bioceanic Corridor, aiming to link Brazil, Paraguay, Argentina, and Chile, connecting the Atlantic to the Pacific by train. China's eyeing it with a $10 billion investment, and it could move grain, minerals, and more without touching the canal. Picture ships staying home while trains haul cargo across the continent. It's a long way off, with environmental fights and money problems. But if it happens, Panama's canal could lose. Its edge hitting American trade hard. These projects are why Trump's fighting so hard. If the canal becomes obsolete, all his moves are for nothing. So, why does this matter to you, America? The Panama Canal's a big deal for your daily life. It keeps prices down for stuff you buy: clothes, electronics, food. If Trump's right and we're getting hit with high tolls, that's money out of your pocket. And if China's creeping in, it's a threat to our security. Trump's trying to fix this, but his plan could crash hard. Panama's not some pushover. Molino's calling Trump out, and their people are hitting the streets, shouting, "No gringos." If they dig in, Trump's deals could fall apart. China's not done either. If Trump pushes them out, they might double down in Nicaragua or elsewhere, making things worse for us. His threats to seize the canal or send in troops sound tough, but they're a legal minefield. The 1977 treaties say Panama's in charge, and messing with that could spark a global backlash, maybe even a trade war. Plus, Latin America's watching, and Trump's bully tactics could turn neighbors against us. If Nicaragua's canal or that railway takes off, we're in a whole new mess. For the average American, it feels like we got a raw deal. We built the canal, and now we're paying through the nose while China's sniffing around. Trump's trying to make it right, but if he overplays his hand, we could end up with higher prices, a pissed-off Panama, and a stronger China. All right, America, here's the deal. Trump wants the Panama Canal back in our orbit, lower. Tolls, no China, more U.S. troops. He's playing hardball with his loud mouth, sneaky deals, and military moves. But Panama's fighting back. China's plotting its comeback, and projects like Nicaragua's canal could change the game. This is high-stakes poker, and Trump's betting big. Will he pull off a masterstroke, or is he risking a massive flop? We're keeping our eyes on this one because it's about your money, your security, and America's place in the world. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think Trump's next move should be? Hit that like button if you're fired up, and subscribe for more stories that hit home. Let's see how this plays out. It's gonna be a wild ride.